Okay, let's see. So I was just going to do a quick explanation over what the current state of the plugin is, and I just wanted to catch you guys up to speed over just how everything is put together and how everything is just how everything works. So let's get started. So currently the plugin, you'll notice if you go into your when you go back to the main directory, all the way back. If you go into your ShadowPlanes plugins repo, if you switch to, make sure you switch to the SOI Conquest development branch so you can actually see all this, because it's not on master, it's not on development here, it's not on this one, it's just a small branch that I made just to add a couple things I thought that you guys were gonna have a couple commits at night, so I didn't want to have some conflicts there. But anyways, so make sure you're on this branch. It's going to be here. You just go into plugins here and then click on this. Am I recording? Okay. And then so if you double click on that, it'll open up Visual Studio, and wait for that. So let's just go ahead and close all these and just take a look at the file structure to start off. So I don't know if you guys can see all this, but as you can see, there's two folders. It's got stuff in it, and we've got an SOI plugin and SOI commands classes. So let's start with the SOI plugin because that's the main class. So this starts out, we have a couple properties, and then we then note how this is inheriting from the Torch plugin base template class. That just tells Torch that this is the main class, and we should start there. We override init so we can get some things up initially. We set up our config. We this is just registering a function, the session changed function down here, so we can tell when the thing is loaded or unloading, which is a thing that is probably good to know. So you can see when it's loaded, we register all timers. I just log it so we know what happened. And then same thing, we unregister timers, and then we save our current configuration. Right now, all I have for save configuration is just going to save whatever's in the config classes, which I'll talk about right now, to the Conquest. Not goodness, what was the thing that it was called? It was called the, should be under setup config, which is all the way in the bottom. So it should be saved under SOI config.config, and then you'll find that if you go to wherever your main directory is. It should be under instance, and then right about here. So let me just open this up really quick in Visual Studio Code so we can take a look at what's in it. So if we look at what's inside of the config file, let me make sure this is showing us XML highlighting so it's easier to read. Come on, okay. So if we just look down here, we can see that. So we start out, we have a registered SOI thing, and then we have just one little tiny config, seconds per SOI update. And in here we have registered SOI, sub tags, and then we give them a name, a radius, XYZ location for the center, and then there's some players we can slap into there. It's not actually doing anything with this right now, but this is just how it'll look when we actually do have it. So right, so how does the program actually save it? Well, if you look here, there's this thing called a persistent, which is just the persistent of type SOI config. If we go into config, SOI config is class. So what this will do is that it'll automatically look at the public classes public properties we have in here. So in this case, we have public double seconds per SOI update, public, and this is a double, so seconds per SOI update, and it gets that right there. And then we also have an observable collection of registered SOI called registered SOIs. So we can see it over here where we have registered SOIs, and inside there we have registered SOI tags. So we can go even further by looking into this one and just see how all this is implemented. So You have XYZ, radius, name, revenue, etc., etc. It goes in here. It's all there. And we have another one even further. We have SOI players as another collection, which you can see right here with type inside of it of SOI player, which we can go over here and see that that references this class right here. And then that has the ID and this Boolean value. Now notice that it's an important thing to note. It was throwing errors for me at first, but you have to public override the toString method for the class if you want to have it go over here, since it tries to reference that when converting these things into a string when it puts it into the config file. So just make sure you have toString if you're using a new type. For example, if you have a class you're using as the type of something, make sure that you're actually giving a toString value so it can convert it over there. I just give it a little tiny thing. It overrides that, but it looks for it, and it'll throw an error if you don't have it. So you don't need to spend too much time on this. Just make sure that it has it if you do add another class. If we go back to the main plugin, we can see that, so we also have, where's the timers? Where's the timers? Oh, right. We start with timers when the session changed to loaded, right. So essentially all the timer's doing right now is it's ticking every 3 seconds, and they'll check who's in which SOI. So in this case, we have register timers. We go up to register timers. It's going to create a new timer with a default time of 1 second. This is in milliseconds. Note that it doesn't accept a value less than or equivalent to 0, so we have to make sure that it's not going to throw an error here. And yeah, so that just handles that little error, and we make it a loop. We attach the update SOI function to the elapsed event that just makes it call this function every single time 1 second has elapsed, and then it loops again, and then we just start the timer. And register timer, we unregister the function, and then we stop the timer. Everything here is pretty well documented. If you guys have any more questions, I'll just document it as well. So to the main function, update SOIs. So you'll notice here we have SOI registry. Now, SOI registry is a public property of this main plugin class. As you can see here, it's a type server SOI registry. If we go into this and put it over here so it's not just sitting up to the side, you'll notice that it's an entire class. It's inside the core class. So inside the core, I just put a bunch of utility classes. Not really sure what to call it. Probably could have called it utility, but oh well. Anyway, so yeah, it's got a constructor, automatically gets all the stuff from the configuration file and puts it into this class, so you don't have to reference everything from the config file. The reason why we're doing this and not just using the classes from config is because if I have this over here, it'll duplicate that property. And basically, it's just good practice to have the configuration classes separate from it. That's just the way everyone else in their plugins, so that's just the way I did it. So, hi. Just doing a quick recording just to explain the overall structure of the plugin right now.
Hey guys.
Hey Mason.
Hello.
First time I hear your voice.
Oh, he muted himself. Okay, anyways, I guess I'll just keep on going. So essentially all this does is just going to get all the configs from all the SOIs from the config and port their properties into this class and just puts them into this list of SOIs. And then let's just take a look at the class SOI really quick. So it's essentially a duplicate of the config SOI class called registered SOI. It has center, radius, name, revenue partic, a ton of different things, but notice here it has past player IDs and owning player IDs. This isn't being used, but this essentially stores a list of all the player IDs of the players we put over here. So I'll take these and I'll slap them into a list right there. And that's done back in the back in this for loop. It should be right about here. See, it adds that to the list. And then it gets the player.player ID, gets a player ID, slaps into the list. It's always good. Back to here though. We got a couple constructors, and then we've got two functions. This just checks if a point is inside, and then this references this function but just checks if a player is inside by getting the position of the player, then calling this function of that position, which is just funny in my opinion, honestly. And then down here we have little utility function, get SOI of name, register SOI, create and register SOI of name, unregister. And then this is not implemented yet, but I just need to do a linear search and try to find the SOI of name and then remove it. And then this is the big function here. This updates whenever someone moves inside, or well, this updates every 3 seconds. This is what is called back in the main plugin. If you look over here in the update SOIs, we get SOI registry, update SOI players. We go over to our registry. Notice here it's going to call this function. So essentially all this is doing is this is going through each SOI. It's looking at each registered person on the server, and then it checks if the person was in the SOI before in the last call of the function. In this case, it'll check the list of past player IDs. And notice in the SOI class we have a list of player IDs called past player IDs. And that's just to store that. And then we also check if the person is currently in the SOI using this nice method that I just explained. And then we use an XOR operator here, which is the little caret, and we say, okay, well, this will only return true if those two Boolean values are different. So if the person was in the SOI and is in the SOI, then it won't update. And if the person wasn't in the SOI and isn't in the SOI, then it won't update either. But if it changes, then it'll call the SIP statement, and then it just handles that. And then we get handle entering the SOI. That just logs the person entered the SOI and shows a notification to the person. This is a particularly nice piece of script. I also left the this will put a little message on the screen right about here, and this one will be white. It'll stay on there for 5,000 milliseconds or 1 second. Originally, I was going to do this by sending a chat message, but that was just kind of hard to see. So I just commented it out so we know what that function is later on. Okay.
Is that method something that you can customize in the config file? The color, for example.
Which method?
The display message to the player.
This one here.
Yeah.
Well, technically you can call it anytime the session is currently loaded. But you have this one specifically shows a notification to a player in specific. I'm sorry, could you repeat your question again? I don't think I understood it.
If it looks like you've got it hard coded to be a white message. I was wondering if the size and color can be customized.
Oh yeah, this color here is actually here. Let me go show you the functions itself. So if you go into here, just control click on it. It'll navigate to definition. Let's go take a look at show notification. Now if you notice here, oh, I thought there was a colored one specifically, but I guess there isn't. But yeah, you should be able, I don't think you can change the size of it, but you can definitely change the color of it.
Okay.
Yeah. If you look at the chat notifications though, send chat message, there's a colored option for that if you really want to do that. But no option for making it bigger or anything. I guess you could probably do that if you really wanted to dig deep into the source code, but you'd have to do a lot of digging inside of Keen's classes, and you'd probably figure it out eventually, but it'd be way too much, way outside the scope of what we're trying to do right now. Alright, let's see, is there anything else? I have another class over here called a server player registry. I was going to use this originally to keep track of who's online and who's not online and just update that, but it doesn't look like I haven't used it. Not sure why this is being referenced right now. Let's see what this reference is. oh, it's just being referenced by its constructor. Wonderful. And then, yeah, so we're not really using this right now. It's just some leftover. I should probably delete it later on if we don't need it, but it's there in case we ever need to use it. Finally, big important thing, the SOI commands class. So right now I implemented two different functions. We have a just simple create SOI with a name, and then you'll notice here that we have the command name, and then we take one string argument for the name. So in this case, it'll just take the name and create and register an SOI of name using the SOI registry. Now it's important to note how we got this plugin. So essentially all this is that we look at the context, and then we get the plugin from the current context. So in this case, the context.plugin is just the plugin that we're using right now. If you look in the main SOI plugin class, you'll notice that we never really instantiate this. So that instantiation is stored in the context.plugin thing, and we cast it as that, and then we use a lambda to reference it. It's probably more complicated than we need to, but it's a way to do it. And then this here, what it does is that we get the name and we get a property. I do a string switch. I actually Google searched to see which was faster, to do a dictionary search or a string switch in C#. And apparently string switches are actually really fast in C#. So yeah, although we should probably reorder these to make sure that the more often called ones, maybe not name, is on top. So like the center and the radius and the revenue should probably be before the name. And then of course, if it can't find the property, it says can't find the property, and got some extra error checking over here. As promised, I'm going to implement a simple little command and try to interface that with the Essentials plugin. The Essentials plugin is essentially, gotta load this up so I can show you. So if you look at the plugins over here, come on, guys, just gotta get those plugins loaded. So it's a thing that was developed by the Torch developers. Essentially, what you can do with it is you can add automated commands, and you can make them run every so often. So I was thinking about using that instead of building my own long-term scheduler for revenue generation, and then just let that call a simple command in our script. So basically, I'm how do I put this? It's hard to make something that runs every hour or so, because what happens if the server goes down, it goes back up again, you have to store the state, and it gets really ugly. So I'm going to let the Essentials plugin do all that, and then just create commands so we can interface. The way that works is that you go to steps in a automated command, and then you can add commands like !restart in this case, or in this case we have save. So let's go ahead and add a quick command just to test that out, because I have not tested that out yet. So let me just minimize this so I can see the reference for that. So I'm going to create a public void test command, and then this is just going to get our plugin. It's going to log, let's say, an info message for ran SOI test command. Pretty simple, just a little logging. See if this works. Did I not do this right? Plugin dot log. Oh, it needs to have a context, doesn't it? Let's see if that works. If I just slap this in here really quick. Not sure why you don't want to work. I am getting the right plugin. So if I get the context.plugin, I go to SOI plugin, I get log. It should be a log. This is a public void. That should be right. Let's see, what else can we do? Let's do a plugin. Okay, so what is a plugin? So it's referencing that. It's going to get a context.plugin, which is going to be just as type. So if I should do dot, I should be able to reference init manifest ig config. Why can't I reference config but I can't reference log? That's so weird. Let's see. Configs here. I get public SOI config. Is this private maybe? It's public static. Oh, it's static. Oh, I see. So I don't even need the plugin. I can just do SOI plugin.log.info because it's static. I can just reference it to the name of the class itself, info, and then let's just slap it in here. Click and kill this line. We don't need it anymore. And let's give it test. So this will be run if it's in the category of SOI. So exclamation mark SOI space test, and then let's say logs a test. And info log. I don't know, doesn't really matter. Okay, let's give that a go. So I'm going to build it, rebuild. Succeeded. I'm going to go over to here and here. I'm going to go to my plugins. This is just a lazy way for me to do it. I'm going to bin, debug, get this. This just compiled. 7/23, 7/23, 309, 309, looks good. Let's go in here, let's just copy and paste. And replace, please. Let's make sure this is right. 17 kilobytes, 17 kilobytes. Alrighty, let's give this thing a go then, shall we? Go back over here. Let's go to plugins. Let's go ahead and add a new one of these. Let's call it, what's it called? Here we go. Let's call this test SOI command. Let's call it, so I have a trigger of scheduled every, oh, what is it? How do I do this? Oh, interval, there we go. Let's do this every 30 seconds, I think that's how that works. And then let's, not really sure how to do this. Let's look up the reference really quick, see what it says. Auto commands, triggers. Oh, it should be timed. X minutes says hours, so the interval after server comes a line, the commands created. Okay, so we need to go over here. We need to not do scheduled. We need to go timed. Why didn't I not see that? Now we need to go edit collection, add a new command called SOI space test, no delay. See if that worked. Looks like it worked. I don't know why it's giving us, probably because that's spell check on here for no reason. Let's just make sure everything else is right. Need to have okay. Let's see. Did I just disconnect? Oh, okay, I was just here. Just making sure nothing weird's going on, and then we're still recording. Okay, good. So where was I? Right, so this is good. Let's go to log, let's start this person up, and let's see if it works. Fingers crossed. Notice here that it'll say which SOIs are registered, so it has a little nice log to tell us it's actually working here. Probably should put that on a colored message, like a warning or a debug message, but oh well. Wonder if you can log colored. Alrighty. Oh, hi. Just waiting for a command to be run. Let's see if it runs. Just put this to the side so we can look at this at the same time. So this should run every 30 seconds, theoretically. Is this enabled? though. I don't know, it looks enabled. Why are you not enabled? Probably should have gone by now. Is there an auto command thing here? Let's just go ahead and see if the test command works in the first place. You're bloody kidding me. You are bloody kidding me. How are you an invalid command? Oh, I know. You hate me, don't you? Oh, well. Why is it an invalid command? Maybe it has something to log. Let's try stopping this really quick. Yes, please. Let's try restarting it to see if that works, because I might just need a restart to reload plugin settings. Give it a couple more seconds to load.
Take care, Rain.
Oh, okay. Bye. Alrighty, let's see if this works then. SOI test. We'll see if that went to the log. Boom. That worked. Let's see if the why are you disabled? Okay. Edit. Add. SOI space test. Add you. Set the times every 30 seconds. We'll see if that works. Let's just try, or actually, you know, that should work right now. Wait, did it run that for us? You said SOI ran SOI test command. Let's see if it happens again. Come on. Oh. I guess it is working. Just gotta scroll down a little bit, see what's going on, I guess. See if we can get one more. This is 1695. Okay. Looks like it works. Wind of It works! Whoa! So we can do that. We can do this. Everything is good. Let me just push this to master or to the branch really quick. And boom. That's done. Okay. Let's just yep, so that's it. Have a nice day. Bye.